All right, guys. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So we haven't really played this game. We had a request for it, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go with it. We're gonna go ahead and get some sub-game weekends going on here today, guys, in today's session. So I really appreciate everybody with their patience. I did kind of do a little quick customized character thingy, just something quick, simple, straight to the point, straightforward, and so that way we can get started. Let's see, what else do we got? First of all, I need to play with the settings a little bit because I'm not really liking how this is really turning out to be for us here, guys. Why does everything look so weird right now? I don't know why everything looks so weird. Is that good? Like something's wrong. I don't know. Running out of breath because I saw that timer going down, guys. I was trying to hurry up and run back here, and it was a little tough with that. What's up, Jay? What's going on, bro? All right. Let's go ahead and do this. Now, first of all, before I do any game, you know me, guys. Straight to the settings, check around. Definitely want to go full screen window. Yeah, we're going to want to do that. We're going to keep it on the 1920 by 1080 because that's the monitor I'm playing it on. Quality, we're going to go ahead and put it on fantastic. Shadow quality, why not? Anti-aliasing. Some AA is pretty good. I don't really like FXAA too much, but it's better than nothing, I would suppose. Field of view is good. View radius. What is that? Would that be like draw distance? Is that what that is? I don't want motion blur. Claim border visuals allow you to see players claim border walls in the world. It's draw distance. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bump that up. Wow, we only get a couple of notches on that. All right, so I think we're good on there, guys. So we also have audio. Music I always tend to bump down to like 70. I don't like too much music, really too much. Everything else seems like it's gonna be good. Controls. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be fun. We'll figure it out. I think everything else is okay here, guys. All right, so it looks like now we're at the main menu. It looks like we get the option to explore, which it seems like when I made the account, it just immediately just throws you into your own world. It shows the amount of worlds that are online. Oh, you could join people's worlds. Wow. Most of these worlds don't have many players, though. Seems like one or two is usually about the max. So what are these people doing? They're taking like screenshots of the world, like they can edit. Oh, but there's a lot. Okay, the visitors only, explosives disabled. Yeah, so people can like set their own world thingies. My world. So how do I do? Oh, I can edit. Description. We'll do world made for the viewers. We'll do that. Public worlds are surface and public world list. Public worlds cannot have a password. Pro settings. Fresh start. Double treasure. Visitors only. Explosives disabled. Explosives like TNT don't affect the world or buildings by default. Alright, we're gonna do TGS, right? Trix Gaming. Trix 2007. Sub games. We'll just do that. Skybox, combat difficulty. Yeah, that's fine, Jay. We can just join your world. Let me just apply this. I'll get back to this later. Jay, how the heck do I find you, bro? Major Team Gym. Ooh, we got a lot of gems, but I don't think none of these are you, bro. How do I do this? I forgot what my Steam was. I think it's... Oh, I found it. Gem, it only shows you online. I'm not able to... I don't think it shows like you in the game yet. What's up, David? How are you? Thank you. Oh, Deadpool 13. Okay, let's look for it. So people can like join your world while you're not like... Deadpool 13. Nah, it's not... Does this say right here? Deadpool 13's world? Is this what I'm looking at right now, Jay? Alright, let's do this, guys. Let's figure this out. That's it? Okay. Wow, so I can join your world while you're not on it? That's pretty awesome. Alright, let's go ahead and check J13's world. So this is cool. So it's like having your own like server hosting for free. Like, there's gotta be a limit though. 4 players, 1 online. Oh, so it's like a max of 4 players that can join it, or more play? I don't even know. I didn't even like read about this stuff. Let's figure out and see what's going on here. I hear things happening. Turn the volume up here a little bit. All right, so we're into this world. Why is it? Wait, what the heck? Is that Jay? Oh my gosh. That's cool. So we got like third person, first person. Jay, I found you, bro. Oh, well, thank you, Jay. Appreciate it, man. All right, Jay, I'm gonna go ahead and get on the Discord call if you want, bro. Give me a second. Because I feel like this is about to be epic. Like, I don't even know, bro. You can't have unlimited members? Really? But how many can play like at the same time though? That's what I'm kind of wondering. And if I'm not mistaken, because when I put the game title on here, it looks like this game came out in 2014. I mean, the game has like a very attractive so what I don't understand is I'm holding a stick, but I'm not in first person. So why do I have a stick in third person but not in first person? I don't get it. Yeah, this is my first time. Yeah, definitely. Oh shoot. Oh my god, we can swim. We can swim. Yo, what's up, Jay? I'm gonna drag this real quick. Give me a second, bro. All right, hold on. Give me a second. Why? Oh my gosh. Dude, something's wrong with my computer. I ran some benchmark testings and my CPU and GPU is not functioning the way they're supposed to. I might have to do a system reboot.
Fresh it all. Mine is acting weird too, but mine is because I got a hard drive in there right now. It's making it, my computer act stupid.
Alright, why can I not even run 60 FPS? What the heck is going on here? You're telling me a GTX 1080 Ti can't run this game? What's wrong with me?
This game is pretty demanding.
Alright, let me bump something down. Let me just... Oh, we don't really have much options with that. I'm just gonna put it on good. Well, good doesn't change anything except for take a couple things out.
Yeah, it doesn't really change much.
Alright, let me try this. It's the same thing. Yeah, I don't think it's... I don't know what's going on, bro. I think I really need to... I just don't like motion blur. Or maybe the draw distance I'll keep down, maybe. Maybe that help. I don't like that fog, though.
Yeah, it looks pretty foggy.
Oh, it does for you, too?
Yeah.
Oh, it does even with this, so it doesn't even matter. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. I didn't even think about that. I know field of view is definitely has put a big impact. But 75, well, isn't like default always like 70 for most games?
Yeah.
Watch this. I'm gonna put everything down all the way and see what happens here. Yeah, I'm getting 60 FPS now.
It could be a lot of the like sun shafts and all that visual bloom and stuff too. That could be causing a lot of the problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do maybe even 60 might look good. And then for view radius, I'm just gonna go ahead and do 11.
I haven't played this game in forever. I don't even remember how to play it.
Okay, now this game is done, right? It's not like alpha or beta or anything.
It's done, yeah.
It is done. Okay, so we know that it's optimized. Okay. I got David here helping me out, which is really nice. Let me, what is this? Allow you to see players claim border walls in the world. Oh, is that red stuff I'm seeing?
Yeah. You can claim a place anywhere close to where my buildings are. You can actually claim a territory like what?
You know what? I think that claim border. Okay, yeah, the game's running good now. It's just I don't know, bro. Like I know it's my computer. Something's just like right now it's showing I'm utilizing 30 to 40% CPU and only 30% GPU. So obviously I have the resources. It's my operating system, bro. My Windows or something. Something is causing this. And it's not even this game, bro. It's everything in general. I'm noticing, like, I ran some testings, and I noticed that my charts are not on par to what they were a few months ago. So I don't know if it's the Windows updates, which it most likely probably is, or some other things. Let me see here. All right, dude, we're gonna get started, dude. We gotta do this work, bro. I'm just gonna have to suck it up and do.
I think it's probably the Windows updates. Mine's acting pretty trashy right now too.
Yeah, it's gotta be something, bro, because that's weird. All right, give me 1 second. Hold on.
I can't remember how to drop stuff. What the heck? I have got to turn this music down.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to do some further testing, see what's going on here. Okay, because I know it's not even just this game, bro. It's every game in general. I've noticed that now my frame rate has dropped tremendously. It could be an OBS issue too. I didn't even think about that, but I know OBS and Windows and permission-wise, it can always cause us a lot of conflict. All right, other than that, I'm just gonna suck it up and deal with it.
How do I... Oh, I killed... What? Oh, whoops.
So wait, so this game automatically caps at 60 though? Like, I can't change that? Maybe if I go into the roof house. I don't know, 60 is good enough, bro. I'm satisfied. It plays good now. I'm getting 60 now. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's capped at 60. I'm not sure. I never have had...
Yeah, because there's no VSync option. You could build snowmans. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's inventory.
You see this?
I just heard what you did. So how was it building this though? Like, was it like...
It took a long time.
I like this. Oh, I'm getting lag spikes. I just dropped half frames there just for a second. Wow. I didn't even know this ladder was even here. Ooh. Wait, so F does interact. Okay.
Those are like all the.
Wait, why am I getting this again? No.
One's a furnace. The other one's like the processor. These are all my chests.
Why am I seeing these red, like, blocks? Look to your right. Do you see those?
Yeah, that's part of the blueprint that I was working on.
Oh, I'm over here like, oh my god, dude, I keep dropping half frames. The red you've seen is a blueprint ready to be built. Gotcha, yeah. Okay. Bro, this is like...
Yeah,
my
that
main...
building is huge.
I'm gonna turn anti-aliasing off. My main thing is, the playing experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it runs good. It just feels like, see, I think it's my operating system, bro. How do I open doors? Oh, F, okay. All right, so you can build windows in this game. I see you build a lot of like stone and wood. So, what is this? Is this like a creative, like a survival? Is it both? Is it what?
It's both.
Both, okay.
I can show you where you have to fight stuff at.
Okay, so we can only fight in third person. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. You have to push tab and you go into fight mode.
Okay, yeah, I see these little creatures over here. Or these just...
You can kill those too, and you can also make.
Oh, he's mad. Oh, what? Ooh, what is that? Glob of God? Or goo, glob of glue. Okay, bone and leather. Wow.
If I had more stuff, I could give you some stuff, but I don't have anything. I might chickens. Ow!
I'm sorry. So what just happened here? I just threw some.
I can't move.
I threw some slime on you.
Those are used to make bombs.
Yeah, I give you permission, David. You should be able to do it. Permit
Can you
failed.
pick that up?
Hold on, wait. Oh shoot. I did get the link though. I'm on it right now. Okay, all right. I'm gonna look at this little wiki here. Maybe this will help us both out. I just got this from in the chat. So the Universe, okay. Gameplay basics. Oh, so this just kind of shows us like how to start playing on Steam.
I wish I remember how to drop stuff. I could drop some stuff for you, but I don't
Bro,
remember how to drop stuff.
Look at this. GeForce GTX 880 or 8800. So what the hell was wrong with mine?
How do I drop stuff? Okay. I gotta look at some stuff. Control.
Okay, so this is something I'm probably going to want to read. This will take some time. But at least it kind of goes over like the game features, what to do highlights, the crafting, the exploring. What we'll do is I'm gonna bookmark this.
I dropped some stuff for you.
Oh, thank you. What'd you drop for me anyway? Oh, what the heck is that? Ooh, I got me a tiki torch. How do I use it? Oh! So we just like suck things up?
Yep. Here's another one. You'll need these two,
it looks.
so.
Do you have chat open or no?
On the game?
No, you're good. Okay, yeah, so right here they said J13, if you press E and then drag and drop items in the bag in the bottom right corner. Minecraft meets generator, Rex, right?
Oh, okay. My bag is, I got a lot of stuff in it.
That's good.
Oh, okay, there we go. Let's just give you that. Oops. Oh, I don't want to do all of them.
Today, find Northwestern Mutual at NM.
Where's the bag of ready? I can't drop 2 bags at once, I guess.
All right, let's take a look here. What are we doing? What is this?
Bakery.
Are you giving me mushrooms here, Jay?
Yeah, those are health.
And a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese is the oven
Because we need health.
cheesy top layer. If home had a
So Generator Rex was a cartoon show that lasted 3 seasons about nanite machines and people's bodies. Wow, that sounds pretty interesting. Sounds like something the government won't want to look into, which if they already haven't. Jay, where'd you go?
I'm in the castle.
Oh, okay.
I gave you a sword here. There's a sword here.
Yo, these slag spikes are crazy, bro. I think it's because I know most of these type of sandbox games, when you're around like a lot of fire. Dude, I'm just gonna turn everything off for now. I'm gonna do fastest. I'm gonna do this, bro, because I don't think graphic quality doesn't really change bit. Well, except it looks really weird now, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. My game looks like Minecraft now because I put everything on performance.
Okay, here you can grab a sword.
Dude, I'm still losing frames. What the?
I think it's your OBS.
It's gotta
I'm
be,
not
bro.
liking it at all.
It's fine. I'll just suck it up. I won't complain about it anymore, even though I just got like 10 FPS there just for a second. All right, so you first joined the world, right? I know I kind of just didn't read the wiki. I just kind of skipped it, but I will look it over later, guys. I promise. So what are we doing? Like, how did you get all this? You just like took down some trees. Oh wait, doors open.
Just basically like how you do Minecraft. Did you want to grab a sword real quick here?
But we don't have to worry about pickaxes or anything.
Nope. So you just suck it right up with your hand.
Oh, so I just suck it with my hands with these blocks? That's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right. Am I able to break your building? Well, you gave me admin, so I probably could now. Yes, I'm not gonna do it. Okay. I'm just kind of wondering because like let's say later on down the line we have people joining. I'm just kind of curious how that would work.
Yeah, since you got that, you could pretty much do whatever you want to my buildings. You could add onto my buildings, you could take them apart, you can do whatever. You could also claim a territory too somewhere in the.
I don't blame it, Project Zero. I believe it. I definitely believe you're absolutely right about that. Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna try to use some of the video settings on this game. Look at that, Project Zero. Look at your badge next to your name, bro. That's nice. Okay, we're gonna do this. I have to turn on shader cache because I don't even think I have this game on my solid state. I think it's on my hard drive. This music just got loud. All right. Are you ready, bro? So we don't have to worry about like pickaxes, which is kind of cool. Do we run out of like energy in our hand or anything?
No, but your hand, after a while, if you upgrade, you can break your hand thing.
Just for you, Project Zero. I got you.
Man, on my chest.
This is for you. Let's take a look.
Let's see if I have anything here for you.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on. And you know what? Like I said, it's not just this game, bro. It's my computer in general. Like I've been like watching it and just I don't know what it is. I hope my GPU ain't failing on me, bro. Oh my god, I don't even think I have a warranty on this bad boy. I will cry.
Yeah. I know, I'm having the same issue though with my computer, so I don't think it's just it could be your GPU yet, because mine is, I'm lagging in a lot of games too. Even just surfing the internet, I'm lagging. And I shouldn't lag when I'm on Google.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so we got Q the craft, which crafting brings up our craft menu. No, everything's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, pretty much. Your bag's right there too, so you can put your bag there. I got some stuff for you.
So we need blueprints for certain things. So how do we get blueprints?
I have a bunch of blueprints. You can team. Most of them come from Steam, though. I got a bunch of blueprints I can get. You check out. Okay, I got some stuff.
So what do you got here? What is this?
It's I was trying to figure out how to work the thing. So I just
look at that. Is this your science project?
It was like a switch or something. I was just trying to figure out how to work the thing. I didn't know how to do it, so I just left it there.
Oh, yeah, I was like, wait, what is this?
It was a work in progress. I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do, so I just left it there.
Oh no! Look what Project Zero just said. Oh, I see your little garden. Project Zero said, you better be ready. I'll be bugging you and Erdar to play some Sea of Thieves soon. I've been playing Sea of Thieves a little bit, like with my cousin. Like he's been on there a little bit. I know I haven't streamed it or nothing, but I've been playing here and there.
You want to grab a...
Project Zero's about to get a new tower. Grab what? Wait, what? What am I grabbing?
Grab a sword? You want to grab a sword over here?
Oh.
Oh, there's another bag here for you. There's the swords right here.
Oh, you actually got them like on the rack. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that took a while to build too. Because if we're gonna go mine it, we have to have.
What do you mean, David? Okay. All right. Hold on. Bro, I don't. Hold on. Whoa. I'm okay. Okay. Inventory. Okay. Hold on. Give me a second here. Okay, so your items are actually equipped onto your character, not your inventory. Okay.
So you have to actually drag them into it.
Now I got a sword. I want to see how good it is. Now, I can't attack in first person, though?
Nope. At least I don't think so. Yeah. Every time we push tab, it automatically switches over to third person, so kind of sucks, but...
Oh, hold on a second. Time out. You might want to do this too. Go to store. Wait, there's a store in the middle of the game?
Yep.
Ah, you can buy blocks. So press escape and go to store. You'll see 2 items for free. Where's that at? Wow, look at this. Featured.
Oh, there's an elf berries bundle. If you scroll down all the way to the bottom, there's a elfies berry bundle.
Oh yeah. Okay, we got it. This one gives us it's kind of cool. You get an extra. All right, where's the other one? Welcome bundle. No, you gotta buy it.
There's a bundle.
Oh, right here. I see it. These 2 right here. The season 1 holiday bundle and season 2. Free.
There's 3 of them. Season 2 holiday bundle.
Wow.
3 of them. What the hell? Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Where the heck does this go, though? I don't have no storage.
Holy shoot. Wait, am I unlocking the same thing here? I think I'm unlocking the same thing. I don't get it.
We can't get recipes. I don't know what they are, but...
Oh, okay, so the season bundles we can claim as many times as we want.
Wow, okay. Where the heck are they going?
They give you a lot of stuff. Wow, okay, so is there a quicker way to do this? You gotta use the mouse every time.
I have no storage.
Alright, I think that's good for now. Alright, so with that put me... You have no storage.
I have storage things, but yeah, they're pretty much full. So I have to build some more chests.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, when I look away from your base, my game runs better. Oh no, I lied. Wow.
Oh yeah, in here. Chest.
I like that we don't have to worry about a pickaxe. That's kind of cool.
Oh man, if you had a glob of goo. Oh, I do have a glob of goo, okay. What else did I need?
Well, there is one good news today.
What's that?
Well, there was a dog missing today, and went outside and caught it, and hopefully it goes back to the owners. Should be fine.
Cool, that's good.
Yeah, I didn't want the dog to get run over or nothing.
Yeah, I hate that when that happens.
David, if you want, you can send it on Discord. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even check my whispers, bro. I seriously don't even check them. Discord is probably your best option. Because I get like all these like account bots messaging me on whispers because like people have like whisper systems going on. Ooh, what's this? All right. I wonder if this blueprint's what's causing the lag. I don't know.
Could be.
Usually anything that renders, like, because you gotta understand, like, that's constantly rendering. Like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe not, though. Thank you, Heaviness. Thank you so much. Or Heaviness, my bad. I'm sorry. Heaviness. What am I talking about? Alright, so I got all these items on me. Oh, I see it right here. 2017. So how do I do this? Claim? Holy macaroni. Oh, you just gotta click on them in your inventory. Please make more room in your inventory. So I can explain. Oh, I thought I was gonna be like Skyrim for a second, not be able to move, be like overcumbered. Jay, are you hiding on me again?
I'm trying to make me some area for storage. My storage is full.
Alright, let's build a storage then. Do we have like a crafting menu, or do we just it's just all blueprints pretty much?
Yeah, there's a crafting menu, yeah. It's Q and then your crafting.
I see. So we got like a little thingy here, like a badge thing. Survival is about balance. Give damage, take damage, eat mushrooms. So mushrooms is health?
Yeah, mushrooms is health. There's other stuff too. You got like potions and stuff you can drink.
Wow. All right. We seriously need a storage container here, Jay. How do I know where you are on my map? Oh, right here, the red people icon. Is that you?
Yeah. I'm in the upstairs of the castle.
Ooh, what do you got here?
All my chests.
Oh, you figured out how to build it? So what do you just need, like wood and stone?
Yeah, I had to get this. Yeah, you have to have the certain items on you to be able to craft it. And I had to find all the stuff. And...
Okay. Well, I'll just mix my stuff with yours, because, I mean... How do I... How the heck do I do this? Oh my god, I got that many? Oh wait, no. Stone chest, this is what you put in there.
Yeah, you just push F and then you just click on the stuff that you want to put in there. I could make another chest too.
Oh, upgrade to Creativerse Pro and unlock 20 extra additional slots. Okay. So why does it say 13 out of 40, but then I'm like full? Well, you're almost full in here too, though.
We can pick it up.
Oh my god, what's up, Thomas? How are you, bro? How are you, man? Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. A secret code? Yeah. Right, LOL, you lose it, right. Alright, I gotta figure out, bro. Okay, so there's not much room in these chests.
Yeah, the biggest one, the one that you're working on right now, that's the biggest. But
they're all full.
I just made it.
Oh, these are chests right next to... Wow.
Yeah, almost. There's another one.
So, do we want to categorize these chests? Like, put, like, blocks? Or... Oh, this is forging. Oh.
We could, yeah. Okay, here's the this was completely empty.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this you use, like, branches and stuff like that. You could create stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Minecraft. And of course, this other one is to, like, chop stuff up.
There's booking for everyone. Yours at any price at booking.com.
At least we got a map. Oh, this is it? This is just the whole world?
It's bigger.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge. I haven't seen all of it yet.
Oh, I just turned off the light. My bad. I didn't... Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm carrying blocks of ice, I mean.
Here's some stuff that you could look at. Yeah, I'm making some shredded leaves and some mushroom spores and some seeds for planting.
Alright, Jake, give me 1 second, bro. Hold on, guys. Oh yeah. Well, while we're sitting here waiting and I'm doing what I'm doing, let's talk about the game, Jay. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I haven't played it for a while.
And then again, I also did have Star Citizen Launcher open. Why was that even open? Don't even ask.
That would hurt you, probably.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Okay, in this chest here, you can see all the blueprints I have.
Hold on, Jay, let me rejoin your world. Give me 1 second, okay? Hold on.
Okay.
That which we call a pigsy by any other name would smell as sweet.
Thomas is so silly. Oh my gosh. All right. All right, so we're. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm getting back in right now.
Did you miss me as much as I missed you?
Oh my gosh, David, I can't believe you just did this, bro. Like, what? And no.
What the heck was that?
Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. All right, bro. I'm coming back in now. What the heck? David, what did you do, bro? Okay, so I should be back in, right?
Let's see. Yep, you're back.
Okay, give me a second here. I'm confused. Wow, David, guys, that's crazy, David. You know what? I appreciate it, man. I really do. Everything that you've done. Oh my gosh! Like, I don't know if you want me to. Oh my god. This is crazy. Okay. Wow, bro. Just David just came in like crazy, bro. came in and just gave me Creative Pro. I don't even know how much that is.
Wow.
How much is it? And then he gave me the welcome bundle pack.
Oh, nice. Creative Pro. That's. It's $20.
Oh, Thomas is wondering with all that noise and TBS. That's J13, guys. That's his. That's just his background.
Yeah, background noise.
Right.
Football game on TV.
Okay. Wow. So that should definitely help things out then. So what does that even give me, bro? I don't even know because I'm still learning the game. So I guess I get more inventory slots, right?
Yeah, you get more inventory slots. I'm not sure what else you get. Oh, you can fly.
Wow, my inventory slots went up like crazy. 12 out of 60.
You can claim a land. So if you want to claim some land on here, you can claim it.
Really?
Yeah. You get free claims. You can do it anywhere in any world.
David, did you want to join us, bro?
And you get like a glider.
Okay. What the heck is this? Oh, I gotta click on this. Hold on. So it looks like the welcome bundle. I'm looking right here. It looks like it gives you like gold and stuff. Like it doesn't show everything though. Oh, I see it. Get more claims. 0 out of 2 claims used. So I just like claim land on your server. Is that what I'm doing? Because it looks like you claimed the red spot.
Yeah, you claim land, yeah. You can actually claim land where one of my places is at too, which is something that people actually could do if they want to be really shady about it.
Oh my god, there's so much going on, bro. I mean, it's like, you know, I play games like these, but like this one I'm just so new to. I mean, I get the concept of it. I'm just trying to understand the basics here.
Did you look at some of these blueprints?
What? We can fly?
You can, yeah. I can't.
Oh my god. Bro. Oh, it uses stamina. Problem is, you don't get good visibility though. Okay, so y'all left and right with AD and use boost left shift. Okay, yeah, pretty self-explanatory. You got some kind of weird creature on top of your roof, bro. Why is he looking at me with my hand?
He's a pet.
Oh.
You actually could feed him. Do you have a bell? Looks like this.
Oh my god, I think my health and stamina went up too. Wait, what is that? A bell? Hold on, how do I know? It's not in my 1 through 0 slot. Oh, and we use minus and equal? Wow, we used the whole top row.
Yep. It should be, if you look in your bag, it might be one in there. I don't know if you get one or not. I think you should.
No, I got some jingle juice, some blizzard potion.
Okay. Here, I'll do this.
Oh, wait, hold on. There's some...
There it is. You can grab it. You can get your own pet if you want a pet.
Oh, taming collar. Oh, wow.
Yep.
So I gotta grab a pet?
You can. You have to find one that's open somewhere.
Okay. What's a good pet? Doesn't like, so what does a pet even do for me anyway? We got a bunch of them around here. That's why they got collars.
Yep.
Oh.
What do you have to watch out for? Because someone will actually attack you while you're trying to.
Wait, really? What? Oh my god, Thomas is hilarious, bro. Oh, what is that? What is that? How do I tame? Right click? Oh, what the? I just threw an explosive bomb.
Ooh, got a chest. Nice. Oh, I got another bed.
How do I tame? Left click?
You right click and hold it until there'll be like a little timer come up there and it'll show you how long you're gonna. Oh, you're trying to tame one of those. Oh.
Hey! I got it!
Those things are mean too.
They are mean. Mean is my kind of thing. I like that. So
pick one of them.
I know, Thomas. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm stuttering. What the heck is wrong with me? Anyway, Thomas is like, chill out, Trix. You act like you never seen flying before. I was like so amazed by it, and like that was unexpected. So it looks like he wants some kind of bread and soup or clam chowder or something.
Okay, here, I got some for you. He likes mushrooms. Oh, what the heck?
How do I get this back? How do I get my hand back out?
Just click on the bell in your inventory and take it out there.
Gotcha. Alright, but there was no like shortcut key or anything?
No. I don't think so.
Oh, J13, check your Discord.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, you might be in trouble. So how do I, wait, interact. So what can I tell my pet to do? I could dismiss it, have it follow, wander, or stay. We're gonna call this Trixzbot. I think that's how we do it.
Wow. Gee. What the hell?
You're fired!
Wow. What happens if I leave? Will you stay in my world? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Go ahead and leave. I'll stay right here. We'll find out. Oh my god. Did David just do what I think he did?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Did you see the free chest at the beginning of the...
Well, you know what though?
You have to leave the whole game.
David is actually a streamer. If you don't mind, Jay, just whenever you get a chance, just if you could do a caster shout out for David, that'd be awesome, bro. Yep, see, last seen playing Creativerse. Look at that. David, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, bro. You did not have to, but it's really awesome of you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Scoop.
Just say that you're saved.
What is it? Yeah, I'm still here, and it shows like you. Is it? Oh, I see the pro line above your name. Did you leave or just stayed?
I left and came back.
Bro, my whole time you were on my screen.
Yeah, that's the way with you when you left too. You're on my screen until like the last second when you.
So is it like Ark, where if you leave a server, you're still on the server?
I don't know. I think after you log out and after so long you disappear.
Bro, too bad this game's not on mobile, bro. Oh, dude, Steam needs to like start emulating, emulate their platform onto mobile. Because I mean, look at Xbox. Xbox did it. Sony sort of did it too. So it's like, why is Steam not doing it? Steam will probably do so much better if they do that. Because how many launchers right now have that, like a cloud-based type deal, you know?
If you leave and go back to your main menu too, there should be like on the bottom 2 chests you can roll.
The main menu?
Yeah.
No, it says 3 chests. It shows next 3 chests 2 hours 34 minutes. I gotta wait.
Oh, so you gotta wait. Okay.
Yeah.
So you already claimed your chest.
Yeah, I added yours on favorite. My world's recent. I have yours favorite. Oh, adventures. Wait, what? Wow, look at these worlds. Okay, I'm coming back in.
Did you notice that when you walk around, that pig follows you?
Thank you, David. I really appreciate it. Guys, make sure you guys check out David. Throw a follow, guys. Please do. David came in and like hooked me and J13 up. David just came out of nowhere with that, guys. Okay, yeah, I'm back now. All right, so now you can fly, Jay. Go ahead, do it. Do the fly. Do the fly.
How do you fly?
I'm like that little kid, like, do the roar. Hey, go ahead and press that G button. Ooh, you got wings now. Do you have any chicken legs? See, look at that. Let's go flying together. I'm right behind you, Jay. This is awesome, right?
Oh, this is wild. The controller kind of.
Oh, I'm about to crash. It's hard. It's like an actual glider.
It is.
Yo, hold on. What's on my map? Something just kind of triggered here.
Oh no, I'm don't go down there.
Oh yeah, the lag spikes though when you're up here, bro.
I kept lagging and I actually crashed.
Yeah, I don't want to lose you.
The good thing about the beacons, though, you actually could never get lost, which is nice.
Oh, okay. All right, so did your stamina go up too?
Yeah, my stamina goes down, yeah. But it went up, yeah. I think my health went up a little bit too, dude. No, it's...
Oh, the blue icon indicates signifies a keep or keepa. It was over here. Over here, bro. So how do I... Or is it talking about this?
Probably that. Sometimes you get chests that pop up right up.
Ooh, mushrooms.
Your pet's still following you.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, I mean...
Too, unless you...
It's really got like that Minecraft vibe to it. The crafting's a little different. I mean, I definitely want to check out the. All right, bro. Wait, it still shows the blue thing. Is it underground? Bro, let's go underground.
It could be, yeah. There is.
What is this?
A
Coal?
place I could take. That's the mushrooms that he likes.
Oh.
You can actually give it to him. Like, click F on him, and you can feed it to him.
How do I? Oh, the mushrooms. Oh yeah, he likes that. Oh, he does like these too. So, where's like his oh, health over time? Yeah, look, I got pets. I just claimed this thing for me. And guess what? You can fly. It's kind of hard to fly, but I have to practice on that a little bit.
What is that thing behind you?
Huh? That's our castle. Let me get a little closer look for you. This is what Jay built. Oh my god. So when we start off, we gotta... Yeah, it is like a glider. You can use ship though to kind of...
Are you kidding me? It's like the land. I can't build this in... Minecraft.
Right. So you got doors. Oh gosh, what the... Hold on, let me just go ahead and show little man. What the... My pet just came out of nowhere.
There's also... You can also go up to the top.
Yeah, see, look, there's our chest. These are like storage containers. Here's our bed.
Wow, random chest is on top of it.
You get third person mode, you can melee and fight.
Technically, those are like campfires from Minecraft. New campfires they added.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do we cook food in this game or?
You can cook food in Minecraft.
I don't think so. I can't remember. I don't think you have to though. You can make food though.
Right, heaviness. Right. It's very nice that David got. Make sure you guys are following David.
Why is his name Deadpool?
He wanted to be Deadpool at 13. Remember when he lost his legs and he became a baby?
I had to change my name because I had somebody bother me on my account. So.
Oh, really?
They tried to claim my territory.
Yeah, David here came out of nowhere and gave me and J13 both pro status in the game and the starter package. So we got like new items, new things, and it was very nice of him to do that.
I wish somebody could be that nice.
Well, there's nice people out there, trust me.
Yeah, not to me. I'm a kid.
Oh, everybody likes kids. That's like saying I don't like kids, but I have a kid.
Yeah.
Alright, so have you been... Look, oh, look, here's the garden. What is that, radish?
Yeah.
Okay, this pet's just driving me crazy now. Hold on. He's just like freaking me out.
If you...
I'm gonna put him to wander. But what if I need to find him again?
Daddy?
You could also put him to stay too, where he would just stay right there. Mine are out wander. That's why they're like all over the place. I got like...
Wait, my pets are your pets? I don't get it.
No.
What the heck is that?
He won't follow me.
Yeah, you don't want to know what that is.
Daddy, he just walked out the door.
Gotta get out of the door though, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have it stay right there. I wanted to put it like in the corner. Can I place my animal?
I don't think so. You have to actually just get him to walk over there.
Oh,
My pig will... There you go, finally.
the pig got that swag walk. You see that?
And there's Jason.
Like when, you know what that kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of this this like video me and I used to watch where it shows like a pig walking down the street and it goes, "My hump, my lovely lady hump."
Oh yeah, you cook food. Yeah, there's food here.
Really?
Yep. In this thing right here.
J13, you have a question or you have a question in chat. Yeah. Project Zero even said Little Man grew fast, because I mean, Project Zero remembers when I first started, man. He was little, like really little. Yeah, you hear that, little man? Oh, he's got his headphones on. Alright, whack a creature with your weapon. Oh, I got another achievement. Hold on. Whack a creature with your weapon? Oh, where's one at? And my new weapon. I want to build some of that, like that new stuff. Let me grab some mushrooms real quick. Yeah, this is... I think what we should do, James, is we can clear out this land around you, right? Let's make it, like, flat. And then build you some, oh, they're doing the sideway logs too, just like Minecraft. Wait, this is a creature? Come here! Come here! Okay. More. Okay. Ooh, select the codex to get the entry. I'm gonna do this in a second. We got these mushrooms real quick. Grab what we can, bro. Hey, those are my mushrooms. What do you think you're doing? Oh, it attacks. You are?
Yeah, there's some attack.
Yeah, the lag spikes are real in this game. But bro, I think I'm getting... I gotta figure out what's causing it. I think what I'll do is like when I go offline, I'll try it without streaming just to kind of see if it is OBS. I'm pretty sure it is because it looks like OBS is, for some reason, running more browser sources than what it should. Ooh.
Yeah, I just had a lag spike a little bit there too. It was bad. Did you want to check out the mine?
Yeah. So if David joins your world, how does that work? Or you said check out the what? Yeah, I want to check around, bro.
Check out the mine.
All right, let's clear our inventory up. I don't want to lose this stuff. If we die, do we lose everything? The guy's still running, bro. We got wings. Come on.
You won't lose stuff. You can go back.
Who what?
You can actually go back.
Oh, we don't lose stuff? Alright, big chests. Alright, how do we want to do this, Jay? We gotta get organized, bro. And can we put like, how can we indicate what is what? Do we have a way to put signs or like post boards or something?
Signs. There might be signs, I'm not sure. No. Yeah, there's signs. Wood sign. Oh man. Okay, we do need to keep the torches though, so if you have any torches, make sure you keep those on. Okay.
What is this, oh, the welcome bundle. What do we do with that?
I don't know.
Used to store the blocks from your bundle. A one-way container to hold all your blocks that came in your block bundle. Oh, so you don't have to like try to, oh. So that bundle is for one world, or how does that work?
I don't know. I never had a bundle. I have no clue. So we got 20.
Yeah, I know Project Zero. It's crazy, bro. I'm using OBS.live. I like it a lot. I think it's been the best one. I've had issues with the standard OBS Studio. I've tried Streamlabs, and OBS Live was like the best. But I don't know, as of lately, after... Usually when there's like a certain update with Windows 10, it's like every other update is better and worse. Like it just, I don't know, it's just weird. I just wish that I could get a fix. I don't know. Oh, for the world you open it in? Makes sense. Okay, so I should probably just hold on to that then. Or if we're just sticking to Jay's world, we'll see. Which will probably be what we're doing. Alright, so this is my home sweet home achievement thingies. Alright, so I see you're emptying them out right now. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's better for organized.
A wood slab. But
well, this one...
So I gotta make some.
This one looks like a lot of like, here, let me do this. Oh, this one's full? Oh, we gotta take these out. And then, so these are all blocks except for... And you have coal or obsidian ore?
I'm trying to make some new.
Alright, how do I gotta put some of these items down for you. Hold on, bro.
Now I can make a side. So I got one side made.
Oh, there's David. Wait, is there a voice chat in game?
I thought I seen something about how to use it, but
Alright, let me take a look here. Oh, we could double tap to roll. Oh, we can actually get
chat backspace.
we got a flashlight. It's L.
Oh, what?
Oh, wow. Bro, we got flashlights. You said we need what now? We need torches? Is that what you said?
You need torches when you go to the mine, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any voice chat. Alright.
Okay, so I got some sign.
Ooh, what is that? You dropped a Christmas bag. You know what? You know what? Ultimate Gamers UK's like character reminds me of right now. Do you remember playing Time Splitters?
No.
You never played Time Splitters? Okay. Anyway, there was a flaming moose head that would chase you. It felt like you were playing like an arena tag or it type of deal. It's kind of like zombies, like don't get touched, maybe you become infected. And one of the characters was a flaming moose head, bro. Like, don't ask why, that just rang the bell. Like, I'm so weird just for even mentioning that. But definitely, that popped up. Let me see something.
Different. Okay, here's some.
Oh! Time Splitters was such a weird game, dude. I'm trying to get you, I'm trying to find you it. Let me see, maybe there's a video on it instead of like, because pictures don't look like it's helping.
Let's put some stuff away here. Oh, better keep those. I can make a yellow pad. Cool.
I'm gonna post it in the chat, like the video. It just kind of skipped down towards the end, like about like a minute and 30-40 seconds. Anyway, it's kind of like that, but this is the single player battle. That's not the one I'm talking about. But anyway, there was like a multiplayer mode to it. Actually, I think it was Time Splitters 2. I don't know, bro. I'll look at it some other time. But yeah, there was a moose in that game anyway, and it looks just like that. What's in the purple bag here? Ooh, signs. Okay. So this one, this little crate, you want to check it out real quick? The silver chest. You see what's in there? What do you want to name it? Because this is your world anyway. So what do you want to call it?
We could probably do blocks on that one because it's mostly blocks anyway.
Yeah, and David, we're on Discord. If you want to come in, it's completely up to you. You don't have to. Just an option. I mean, you helped us out a lot today, so we're down. We're okay to talk to you.
There's a lot of blocks.
There's a lot of blocks. You want to call it blocks? Or not blocks. That just sounds very cliche, right? All right, so how do I go about doing this? Made in the crafting menu. Use to display text. So I can put this down here. Holy mackerel. Go ahead, bro. I'll let you do it. Oh, that's a huge sign. You sure that's what you want to do, bro?
Wow, I didn't think they're that big. Wow, okay.
Wow.
Maybe.
Is there other signs you can make, or?
That's the only sign I see.
Okay. Probably for now until we get like more unlockable thingies.
Oh, there's a stone sign you can make too. Okay. And there's an arc sign, whatever the heck that is.
And then what's behind here? You got the forge table and what? Processor? What the heck is a processor?
You can make food and stuff with it. Well, that's not the food. That one there you make. You can chop stuff down to like slabs. You can chop it down to. There's just all kinds of stuff you can do with it.
Oh, okay.
Like coal, you can make coal into gunpowder. Let's see what's this one. Yeah, we'll just transfer all the blocks.
This is a lot of work categorizing, honestly. Just do the best you can. You know, just something that it's easy for you to navigate when you get to it. I mean, with us being new... Wait, you got a ship here? Black Pearl 2? Use step-by-step instruction to build a structure. What the...
Yeah, those are blueprints.
Wow, that looks awesome, bro.
You can take it if you want it. I'll find it and build it.
Oh, I think David tried to come in here and chat. I think he's not verified. Hold on. There you go, Thomas. Ain't none to it, but just do it. Right. You got it, bro.
Just swallow one that I don't have any seeds.
I'm gonna message you, David, quick on Discord.
Yeah. That's what I do for flour.
Alright.
Organized. Okay.
Oh my god, yeah. So it's really just lag spikes periodically. So typically when stuff like that happens, I usually say hard drive, but my hard drives are fine. I just ran several tests on them.
Yeah, I know mine's a hard drive. My hard drive was shot.
Believe it or not, this game is taking 25% of my CPU. But you know what though? Any sandbox game would do that though. I mean, because it's like there's so much being generated, you know?
Oops, I didn't want that. Oops, I didn't want that either.
Alright, so we got flowers, seeds, interact with me. Hey, it actually kind of rhymed. I like that. Flowers, blocks, and nothing to rhyme with that.
The rest of them labeled it. I just gotta figure out what else we need because some of it's gonna be just like odds and ends because that's basically what it.
Right. Seeds? I see more than seeds in here.
Oh yeah, I haven't got to change yet. I haven't taken everything out.
Oh no,
I started to, but
I would just name it for now. Maybe even put flowers next to each other. Or because these are big storages, right? 60, and then these are just 28. Bro, there's got to be another storage we can build. Wait, you know, let me check the forge here. Or no, that's not where we craft.
Craft is Q.
All right, wood chest. Store items, okay. Yeah, that's all it shows me. Ooh, hold on.
What's this here? Let's see what else we have.
Likely event you might contact elsewhere will be at 1-800 contacts. Here's a reminder to use your flex spending account or vision insurance
This
benefits
thing's a
before
mess.
they expire. Just go online or download the app.
You even got glass. You could build us glass.
Oh, we got large capture blocks here too, or medium capture block, small capture block. That's for like people to share with the world or something?
That's like to capture like a large portion of items that you need.
Oh, okay.
So you can put that down and you can like, if you need a certain like wood or something like that, it will just capture the whole area. They're really good. I like those. Uh-oh. That one's full already. Well, we need 2 blocks. Okay, which one do I want?
Hello.
There he is. Sorry about that, David. We just, you know, there's a lot of these like weird Discord bots that be coming into communities and stuff, so we just try to keep those away.
It's okay, that's alright, mate.
Okay, what do I need that one?
You could definitely tell we're new, and I think you can already tell that just from watching. We're still learning. I'll look over that wiki later, like once I'm offline, and then just to kind of get an idea.
Awesome.
I'm kind of new. I've played it before, but it's... This sucks. Okay, we need two things for blocks, because there's not enough.
No?
Yeah, that's full already. Frigid sandwich, okay. Why is there 2 flowers? Oh yeah, because I named it.
I just realized we had a timer in the game showing us the time, so it's 12:40 a.m.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
the time of the game.
There's some creepy music in this game.
Yeah, there is.
Oh!
Okay, here's blocks. Second blocks. This is just... yeah. Okay, so let's do one with...
Alright, so let's do this. So David, when you first join a world, let's say you just join a world, what's the first thing you would do?
First thing I would do is possibly build a house and then build on from there, really.
Okay. I'm really curious to see what's below the ground here, though. Like, are we gonna see like another world, dimension, some weird creatures, some bosses?
Weird creatures.
And
Okay.
I'm just worried about how I'm going to get back up. I mean, I know we got the glider.
So when you press T, you have your teleporter. You do.
Oh, sorry. I pressed 2.
Oh no.
I just threw a bomb at them.
What? How do you throw bombs by accident?
Yeah, well, I have an explosive bomb, see? And then I have frozen containers. Wait, frozen containers? Can we, like, use that for storage?
I don't know what else to put here.
You got this, Jay. Come on, man. Remember, organization.
Okay,
What the
somebody's
heck
cool
is this?
here.
Are we able to build, like, other signs, David? Or is this pretty much the best we're going to get, really?
You can build other signs with an arc sign, but they're not suitable for here at the moment, I don't think. Unless I can see what's under here, underneath this wall here.
Okay. Yeah, because I think these signs look kind of good, maybe with these big things, but with the chest, it just kind of doesn't feel immersive.
It's giant compared to the chest. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so that could be consumed, or maybe consumables.
Why do those signs interact with me?
Well, interact with me because it's telling you to give it like a name. See, I could do this and then change the name.
Oh, so you put it down.
Yeah.
So you have this kind of sign here, you do, which is the
Oh.
arc sign,
Interesting.
which is you can hide it underneath the ground, but because we're we're on the second floor, we can't hide it underneath the ground.
Okay, so how would we rename? Because I tried right-clicking and pressing F.
So with this one, you need a bit of coding with this one, I think. Let me try and rename this one moment, please.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, for this one you need a wiring tool for this one.
Oh. I just realized I got a picture. We could take pictures in this game?
You can do, yes.
Alright, so we're gonna take a picture here of Ultimate Gamer UK. Okay. I took the picture, so what happens?
That goes into his Steam library, it does.
Oh. I know, come on. I don't want that over here.
Oh, I got some.
I'm a train.
Coal.
What is that noise? Is it raining?
Do you have any stone rods, coal, and magnetite at all, please?
I think so. Magnetite?
Yes, please. I need 2 magnetite, 4 stone rods.
Okay, yeah, there's some in this one right here. stone. Adobe stone block wall. There's some stone. Let's figure out what I'm doing. Just to craft.
Oh yeah. So we don't have like a hunger meter, so that's pretty good. We just use food for health, right?
Yeah.
That's good. We ain't gotta worry about starving to death or anything.
So do you have 2 coal at all, please?
Cool. Let's see.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can have the rest back now.
All right. Now I noticed that we have some like slash commands. So, is it just for like chat, or do we have like a developer console in this game too?
The mainly admin commands they are, so if the game was laggy for instance, you can do a command that can restart your world for you, which is a command which is / shutdown, and that will shut down your world for about 10 seconds and just restart it for you. So keep all these items in the world, but just restarts the server.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Got some for you here.
There's a wiring tool there for you if you want one.
Ooh.
You could have 2 kilograms. Yep. Okay. There's something else.
There's one over here as well if anybody wants one.
Oh, I got this. Did you?
I'm just playing around with this thing, figuring it out. I like Ultimate Gamer over here, coming out with the mitten, coming in like the magic power with the force. I love that about Stream Elements, how I can actually just know your Twitter posts. Like, so yeah, I did make one about you, Gamer UK. I didn't know what your Twitter was. I used both of your gamer tags.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, did you need this, Jay? This is the ship blueprint. And then here's a wiring tool right here, Jay, if you want it. Or do you already have one?
I already have it.
Oh, okay. Probably put it in a box or whatever, in case somebody else joins your server or something. Oh wait, is that mine? Or no, I got one already. Okay, never mind.
You could have the other thing if you want it.
Oh, so we got 3 different modes now. I get it. I was just gonna say, how do I change my hand? But never mind. So tab just kind of switches your your stance. I get it now. So what does heaviness mean by the panda code? Is that something we redeem in game or through Steam?
Oh, if you go to press escape and then go to store then redeem, and then in capital letters type in panda, you'll get JoJo's bundle. There we go, and then you get a red mitten as well when you come.
Thank you guys.
A purple mitten, sorry, in costumes.
Make sure you do it, Jay. I just did it. Get some freebies, man. See, sometimes it's good to wait 5 years before you play a game. You get a lot of free stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like everybody goes to the grand opening and I just wait till everything's on clearance.
Ooh, cool. I like that sword.
So I'm really curious, David. So anyway, so like when you found the channel, how did you find it? Like I'm just doing some like studies on Twitch.
I found it by going to seeing who was playing Creativerse,
Okay.
and it came up with saying he was playing Creativerse. Just
Okay.
clicked on your name, found out I wasn't following you.
Okay, so you went to the Twitch platform, you browse category based on the game, correct? And then that's where you found our channel?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, we all know Twitch has a really lack of discoverability in terms of like how their platform is based. Their search method is not the best. So I'm just trying different things to see like what people do to navigate, and I'm just taking notes. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. Because I do agree there that Twitch isn't that good for streamers, really.
Yeah, because like YouTube, you type something and you get like everything you wanted pops in your face. Twitch is more like whoever gets the most views practically, and it's like that's not really the best way to look for things. Supposedly they said in 2020 though we got some new, supposedly more discoverable methods that they're working on, so we'll have to wait and see what they have in store for us. I mean, I really hope. But you know what though, it's not just Twitch, it's any live stream platform. It doesn't matter because they all just lack the ways of discovering channels pretty much. Thank you, Heaviness. Okay, so you guys are like really big fans of the game, and you guys checked out to see who was on there. Actually, you know, I'm gonna take a look and see how many people are streaming this game right now.
See the mine real quick?
Heck yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna take a look real quick. I'm gonna go over to the Twitch website now. I'm gonna go to Creativeverse. Let me see how the categories look in here.
See how many people are actually playing.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the game. Oh! I'm actually the only one. That would make sense. Okay. So 16,000 people are following Creativeverse, so it's got a pretty high fan base behind it. So people that are following the game category, they'll know. Okay, that's cool. Oh gosh, what did I just eat? Oh, brown mushroom.
Did you have any health items?
Oh yeah, what you need?
No, do you have any with you just in case when you go down to the...
Yeah. Alright, so just to make sure, when I'm pressing I for my inventory or in my bag, when it says 26 out of 60, that's my actual inventory slots, right? I still have spaces. Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. You have 60 inventory slots. I have 3 full.
Did you want these in any different colours as well?
Heaviness, did you join our Discord server? Oh shoot, I'm looking at the time. Ooh.
You ready to die?
I'm ready to die. You said we don't lose our items though if we die?
You lose them, but you always can go recover.
Gotcha, so, okay, You know what, let me...
Kind of like Minecraft, but it would need like a little bit.
Let me make me a chest so that way I'm not like corrupting all your stuff. Let me see, which room should I use? Let me use one of these rooms maybe. Let me see here. Alright, hold on, Q, right? And then build.
There's also, in the house, there's also root stuff in there too, so you can check in there.
What about these gift boxes, these like Christmas gift boxes, are they great for storage?
Those, I think they are. I'm not too sure. You can put like little items into them, but I'm not too sure how many they hold.
Gotcha. It'd be kind of nice if it kind of showed you like how many slots before you craft it.
You can place them. You can place them down. You can, and then you can just take them back up after.
If you want a chest, I got some chests in the house here you could use.
Yeah, I need some beeswax.
The house, there's like 6 chests in here. That's it.
So there's no like evil mobs or anything out here that can like hurt us? They're just mainly like out and about somewhere else? Oh, this was your first house, I can tell.
No, actually the castle is the first.
Really?
Yeah, I built the castle first, and I built this second. It's not completed though, I still got a couple things to do.
Okay, I'm gonna use this brown chest right here. I just don't want to lose my stuff.
Yeah, I don't blame you. If you die though, you drop your stuff, and it's like a little bag, and you just pick it up. Sometimes you'll die that way. I think it's in a bag, or maybe.
It's like in a death statue. It is.
Dang, you got a lot of it.
Right, yeah, I had to put some of that stuff away. Okay, well, I can always get some of this stuff back too, so I'm not worrying about it too much.
Here's how you cook. This is our little stove.
I like this stove. Oh, you made some. Come on, Jay, you're making me hungry, bro. Those sandwiches looked really good.
Pumpkin pie. That looks good too. Okay. Here's the biggest.
Let me get you to Discord real quick, Kevin. So that way you guys can stay up to date, like so that way when we play this game again, you guys will know.
Your hand too, by the way.
Oh, the hey, who, what?
Switch it to your other one. So you can do some mining.
Oh, this is what this hand's for the mining?
You have to switch it to the other one.
Oh. Got some of the health, man. Or the mushrooms.
This is the...
Yeah, I like this. Man, you put big giant lanterns down here. Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Don't want to go down there. There's chest down there, but don't. It's fun to get out of that area.
You seem pretty scared to go down, Jay. You're scaring me, bro.
Oh, just wait till you see some of these monsters.
Ooh, what is this? Your current mining cell isn't strong enough to pull this block? What is that?
Okay.
Holy, what the?
Oh no.
Can I tame it?
You don't want to try to save that thing.
Alright.
There's bigger stuff too.
Oh man. I just feel weird in third person though. Like, I mean, I like the idea of it, but something's above us. Look, David's laughing. He's like, wait till they go deeper. They only don't know what's coming. Bro, it's dark down there. I ain't going down there, Jay. Not with, no, you go first. I got your back.
Look at this area that I had, but this is...
Bro, we can't... These are... Some of these blocks are too strong. How do you get to take that down? I can't. Oh, I'm sitting in mining shell. I don't have that.
You have to upgrade it and create it.
Oh, what the? What did I just do?
Oh, you planted something.
I think you did have some obsidian too.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I can barely do any of these.
Yeah, we can go back up. Take my sword out.
Holy crap, it's already 10 o'clock. What?
What the heck we get out of here?
Time flies. Jay, how do we get back up?
If you press T, you can teleport back to your touchstone.
Like F2 or just 2?
Just T. T for Tango.
Oh.
And then you press on dead pause, it will take you back to his touchstone.
Well, that's kind of cool. There's no confusion /TP username, this username, that username, set coordinates, and all that crazy shenanigans.
No, there's not, no.
Just quick teleport.
Nice. Alright, let's make me a nice little obsidian thingy. Dang it. Damn, time flies, man. I feel so bad. I'm just getting into it, too. Dang it.
Do you know how to make one of those things?
Where's the obsidian at? There's magnite. Obsidian brick wall. Is that what I need?
You need the obsidian. No, you need one of these things over here. Where's it at? I'll have to find it. Probably in everything else.
I saw it earlier. It looked like coal, but it wasn't. Oh, I got it right here. No, it is coal. Hold on. There's obsidian slab. Jay, where'd you put it? You lost it, bro. You broke it.
I thought I had something. Where the heck is it at? Okay, there's a...
Oh, here we go. Obsidian ore.
Okay, you need to make that into... Ooh, wow. Like,
So you need 4 obsidian, 2 stone slabs, 10 bedrock, 8 magnite, and 4 mushrooms, red mushrooms, or 4 brown mushrooms. So if you click on it, then you can tick the. So if you go to craft, untick the hide locked recipes at the bottom. So you see where you got a tick at the bottom.
Oh, the lock recipes?
Oh yeah, if you untick that,
Okay.
it will show everything for you.
Okay. Where is it? Where's the... Here we go. Okay, so the obsidian mining sale. That's what I need, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it won't let me track it, though.
Okay. Oh, you need to unlock something else first. You do. So you need to make the you need to make your stone one first. You do.
Okay. Okay, so I need wood slabs, coal, and some yellow flour. Okay,
So if you track that one first, and then it should work first.
Wood slabs here.
Okay.
I'm getting the same light that you're getting now.
Yeah, it could just be server-sided. And honestly, bro, I read it up on it. It seems like it's a pretty common thing, so it's not just us. But a lot of sandbox games do that, though, no matter what.
Yeah. Did you find everything yet?
I think so. Let me double check. Hold on. All right, so now if I craft, I need just wood slabs. That's all I need.
Wood slabs are in here. What the heck did I do?
Which one? Furniture?
The crafting items.
Wood planter and crafting items? Oh, wood slabs. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and craft me a stone mining one. I did it. Okay. Alright, crafting items. Let me put the wood slab back. Okay, I put your stuff back in there. Flowers, let me put the flower back.
Where's the obsidian? Do you tell the obsidian?
So I need obsidian, stone slab, bedrock, magnetite, and red mushroom. I don't have any red mushrooms. I think you do though in your thing.
Yeah, there should be some in consumables. I had some. What if Okay, maybe I don't have many.
Hey, what's going on? How are you? Alright, so for this, guys... Yeah, so I need obsidian, stone slab, bedrock, magnetite, red mushroom.
So magnetite's in here, in the blocks. This one here.
So there's some magnite in the block spots here.
Okay, let's take a look here real quick. All right, so where was the? Oh, oh, you guys already got it out. Thank you. Okay, so here's a stone.
Here's the other
magnetite. Where the heck was that? I saw it just earlier.
It's right next to you in the bag. The bag.
Oh.
The bag.
Okay.
Already got it.
All right. So magnetite, I'm good. Obsidian. So just obsidian, not the ore.
Okay. Don't you have to make the obsidian into something though?
Yeah, you need to put it into the forge. You do.
Yeah, put it in the forge.
A forge, okay.
Yeah, one the.
Oh, I didn't even grab the ore. Hold on. Okay. Oh gosh.
Headmistress said we need to put it into the forge.
Okay, so I need something to fuel it then. What do we use for fuel in this game?
Okay, I just put fuel in there, but it didn't work. What the heck?
I would say coal.
Just coal?
Yeah, it would be a good fuel.
Whichever. I use these sometimes. Okay, there's these in there now. What the heck?
Disappeared.
Oh, it's gone back into your inventory, so that's because you walked away from it.
Oh, okay, I'll stay right here. Go ahead.
So if you put, you need coal. So if you find some coal, which is in the crafting box behind you.
Okay, got the coal. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. So we're gonna do this, and bam, got it. Forge 1.
So you just keep on pressing on that.
Alright, do we want to just build a bunch of obsidian, or do we need ore for anything else?
You could get ore. We could get ore.
Okay, I'll just make this for now, this amount. That way we're not making too many. Now, does it keep cooking if I step away?
It will do, yeah.
Oh, nice, sweet.
You can collect them anytime you want to, too. It says collect all, you'll collect whatever's done.
Okay.
So there's like 3 done right now.
I need 2 more obsidian. So right now I need bedrock and red mushrooms.
Bedrock should be in one of these. And you gotta go get some mushrooms because I don't have any bedrock.
Can you change your mushrooms, or should be able to change? If you press on the, yeah, you can change into brown mushrooms. You can. So if you press escape again, oh sorry, press E, sorry, and then go to craft. Yeah, and then press on where the red mushroom is, and then press the arrow. You'll be able to change it to brown mushroom.
Okay, so yeah, so I got brown mushroom. I need 2 more.
Okay. There's 2 more here. There's 52 here.
Okay. So how do we just take one item instead of a bunch? Just right click?
Yeah. If you press Shift and then right click on your mouse, press and hold Shift and right click.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, that's good. That's much better. Okay. Just bedrock, that's all I need. It's gotta be one of these blocks. I saw it.
It's in the last one. Yeah, it's in the last.
Bedrock, got it. Okay. And
There you go.
oh, I need 5 more bedrock.
Nice.
Really? Alright, I finally got it. Okay, Jay, here's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so crafting items. I'm gonna go ahead and put back this ore, coal, magnetite and stone. Do I just want to put it back into the blocks?
Yeah.
Okay, stone slab, that's crafting, right? Okay. Okay, yeah. Alright, so that means we probably cooked all the obsidian now. There you go. I'm gonna go ahead and put these on your crafting items now. Voila. David, I appreciate you being so patient, bro. I mean, I know how it feels to play with new players because I've done it in other games. Sometimes I know it's annoying, but sometimes it's a great experience to see others go through what you once did, you know?
It's okay, I don't mind waiting at all.
You're like me, I'm very patient. The life of multi-monitor is just do something else while you're waiting. Okay. Oh, hello world. Look at that. I like that. That's pretty cool. Alright. Well, unfortunately, Jay, I'm gonna have to probably cut it short. If anything, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Sunday? We could probably do some more of this tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
Maybe around this time, but I'll try to get on a little earlier. Maybe like 6 CST, maybe.
Okay.
You know? So, when I leave your world, do I want to be somewhere safe? Am I gonna get attacked, or does my body go away?
Your body disconnects as well, it does with you.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know if we were gonna be like Ark snoring in the background, like somebody come in and mug me or something.
No.
All right, David, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, I thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I gotta go take care of a few things, guys. I really appreciate everything. Jay and David, if you guys are still here, maybe I'll come back and see a nice house. If not, I will definitely. We'll be on tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna cut it short. I gotta get going. Thank you so much for everything. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much. David, shout out to David for everything. Coming in like that, just coming in out of nowhere, just showing the love, guys. I really appreciate that, guys. So make sure you guys are definitely checking out David's channel. Throw a follow. Hey, man, thank you for hanging out so much, guys. If you guys really like this game and you would like to continue seeing us playing this some more, let me know. We'll definitely do it. But until then, I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Am I missing anything? I think we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. Get on around like 6 p.m. Yeah, no, I will. What y'all making? So Jay kind of built a few things already. I'm still learning the game. The next session, we're going to start doing a few more things, guys, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.